Alright, what's good YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you my Labyrinth deck that I've been climbing with. First I'm going to start off with my deck list and my reasoning for each card, but note I'm missing a few extra copies of some cards, and I'll get into that as we go along. So first things first, we got Absolute King Backjack, which I find to be a great card when paired with the discard Labyrinth cards, especially when going second. This allows us to set up on the opponent's turn. I run 2 Maxis because it's the best card in the current meta. 2 Labyrinth Stoves and 3 Chandeliers. These cards are necessary because they are the only cards that give you a chance while going second, and you always want to go for Welcome Labyrinth. And then we got 1 Ariane because I find the draw effect helpful to stay ahead in card advantage, and I do understand that some people don't like that, but I find it to be useful from my experience. Then I got 3 Arianas because she's the searcher for your Welcome Labyrinth and the field spell, and you always want to see her. That's the reason I run 3 copies. We got 1 Lovely because she's the best target for the Welcome Labyrinth, but she's also a brick if you draw into her, so for that reason I only run 1 copy of her. We got 2 Lord of the Heavenly Prisons. I run 2 only because you don't want to see multiple copies in your starting hand, because if you draw multiple, one of them is just going to be useless, and it's also the best trap support in the game and protects from Harpy's Feather Duster. And then I got 2 Pot of Extravagance. It's a great card when a deck can run it, and thankfully this deck can run it as it barely hinders it. The only negative impact it has is if it banishes the Natis. And then we got 2 field spells of the Labyrinth. Because it helps you maintain board presence, and you need 2 copies because they are not recoverable. Really wish there was something in this archetype that did recover it, but unfortunately there isn't, so that's why we have to run 2. We have 2 Torrential Tributes, a great board wipe when you have the field spell up. You always want to save this to special summon a monster after the board has been wiped. And then we got 2 Compulse, still a good removal trap after like 15 years in the game, and very versatile. We got 2 Dynamisks because it's a great removal for destruction immune cards, and currently in this meta to get rid of the runic field spells. Also, this card pairs great with the Chandeliers because Chandeliers recurs itself to the hand with his effect. And then we got 2 Dimensional Prison. So every Labyrinth deck wants to run one type of Floodgate. I don't agree with running multiple types like the Virus card, so I choose this because it's the easiest to resolve, with its only downside being it doesn't work against Link monsters. So for that reason I run the Dimensional Barriers. 2 Trap Tricks because all of our traps can solve a specific situation, and this helps us get to those specific cards. And then we got 2 Dogmatica Punishments, a great card, easy to resolve, especially when paired up with the Natis or the Fossils. 1 Ice Dragon's Prisms to out any Towers type of monsters or to mess with any mono type decks, such as Cyberse. There's the Sprites, which are all Thunder type. It can also mess with Adamanticators. And then we run 1 Apex Predation. This card I tested with recently a bit, and it's just a great board wipe and another reason why I run 1 Ariane. 3 Welcome Labyrinths, the best card in the deck and the main way to get to Lovely. Also has a recursion effect, which is why I run with the smaller Labyrinth cards like Stove and Chandelier. We have 3 Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch. I personally think this is a great card because not only is it generic destruction, but you can get it back. You can get Backjack into your grave, which will help you set up for another trap. Or if you have the field spell up, you can get Lovely that way. Or if you just need more resources with the small Labyrinths, you can send those to the graveyard and they will recur themselves from the graveyard. And that's just the main deck list. Now onto the extra deck, we have 1 Natis. As I mentioned before, I wish I had more copies of certain cards, and this being that card, as it's just the best target for Dogmatica Punishment, as you can usually get 2 pops for 1 card. But because I don't have multiple copies, I have to settle for the lesser copies, which are the Fossil cards. So we have Fossil Warrior, which specifically targets monsters, and then we have the Fossil Machines, which specifically target spells and traps. But what makes these really inferior to Natis is that they can only be activated on your turn, so that That's why if I can replace these cards with Natis, I definitely would. Or I'd probably replace the other extra deck monsters that are just literally there for fodder for Pot of Extravagance. I do have Boguska because you can summon it in this deck, but honestly, from like my 70 games, I've never summoned him, nor have I summoned Zeus. So they're there. Maybe they'll come up one game because that's usually the point of these cards in these type of decks. But that's the deck list. And now on, we're gonna move on to the replays. So here we are at the deck replays, and I'm just gonna show you like the past 2 games that I've played, just to show you how it's been going with the deck. And I'm only at Diamond 2 right now, but we'll definitely be pushing more into Diamond 1 with this deck. I guess before going into the replay, just to show you what I've been playing against. So here we have the Sprite deck, typical rank 2 with the Nimble Beaver, Swap Frog, clearly a tier 1 deck at this point. And if I remember correctly, this game was kind of crazy or kind of long. Alright, so not a great hand going first, but sorry, we were going second. And this is literally the reason why I run Chandelier, because we're going to activate this to discard the Welcome Labyrinth as this Sprite player does this combo. Something to keep noted is I actually always turn off my toggle for the 5th summon to make them think I have Nibiru, because usually opponents will play differently if they suspect you have Nibiru. So he's just going into full combo right now. And then, right, just activating. So I believe this is the 5th summon. No, this is going to be the 5th summon. Oh, does it not show my toggle? Oh, well, that's a thing. So yeah, I discard Welcome Labyrinth, as I said, because you can activate both effects on the same turn. Just it can't be on the same card, so that's just something really useful to have. We only have to deal with a Spell and Trap negate, which is very unfortunate. That was probably a prediction on my opponent's end to think that we were running this type of deck. So very unfortunate, because I'd rather him have the monster negate to counter basically just Ariana and not the other 2 trap cards. But hopefully we draw something good for turn. Unfortunately, this was such a bad draw for turn with the Welcome Labyrinth, so I had to make sure to force out this Sprite Carrot. Use the Welcome Labyrinth. He's gonna do all of his plays. We know he only has 1 Sprite Smasher, so we just have to play around that. He's adding blue to get the Jet. Gonna activate Labyrinth, Ariana. Unfortunately, he has the Infinite Imperm, so he's gonna stop us from getting our field spell. We go into battle phase, make sure to get rid of the Sprite Elf so he doesn't recur more monsters at the end. Then we set 3. Then we're sending more Welcome Labyrinths. He pops that, negates that, sorry. Then we go for Archwing Ghastly. And this is why this is such a great card, because I'm definitely going to be sending Backjack with this to get another trap card. And on top of that, we get to draw with Ariana. Then we recur with Chandelier. And then we recur with Welcome Labyrinth. Very unfortunate with the draws too. We draw 2 Chandeliers, but we actually get to mill for a Dogmatic Punishment, which is not bad. He's going to get the 2 special summons, and then this is where I'm going to have Natis clear up these 2. Because the only problem with the Sprite decks is they need to have something level 2 on the board to start special summoning, but unfortunately he has the Called by the Grave, so that messes things up. Again, at this point I kind of think I'm gonna lose if they're able to recover off of Torrential Tribute, but I'm begging Torrential Tribute is all we need to make sure everything goes well. He goes into this, and I might have made a mistake by preemptively doing the Torrential Tribute because I thought he was going to go into Zeus, but he probably couldn't have, or probably wasn't worth it to him. So that resolves. He does the sprite starters, goes into gigantic sprite, and right now we're really behind. So he's setting up his sprite board. I could probably fast forward this a little bit. But this is the thing with sprites. You can always play through it. You never know if you can get something to get your engine going again, because once you get it going again, you can definitely start winning. Right, so I go for the field spell here. It's okay card. He's gonna use Masquerena. Goes for a link for right topological. Very unfortunate. I set there, I think, as a misplay. Right, because he's not going to be able to destroy. That was probably a misplay, putting the Dino Misc. Or maybe, yeah, that was definitely a misplay. This is the only way I'm going to be able to get anything off. I'm going to pop this monster, hopefully to discard something so he has nothing for next turn, because no matter what, topological is going to resolve. Get the card advantage. Yeah, I really should have kept this in hand now that I'm looking back on this. So draw into Compulse. Nibiru, not a great card to hit because that card does nothing to our deck. So he banishes everything. Got into Heavenly Prison, which is great, especially paired up with the Compulse. I set the Chandelier just in case he's going to have something to kill me. So fortunately, he doesn't do anything. He probably didn't draw anything to gain advantage. Right, resolving everything. Go for Pot of Extravagance. That's usually the card I go for with Heavenly Prison, and he must have not had anything because he was not going to compete with our advantage. And this was Outlich. Probably like this inferior version of Labyrinth, so this duel will probably showcase like why that is. So we're going to hit the replay. Alright. So I got to go first on this duel, and always great seeing Ariana with the starting hand. Got the field spell with the Welcome Labyrinth and a Ghastly Glitch. I feel like this is more than enough, especially with the Max C. So usually I put Max C on the draw phase so they can't either draw me or triple tactics. But then I see that he has the Pot of Extravagance as well, so I'm really hoping it's not, this is going a little too fast, really hoping it's not Flundereeze at this time. Then he hits the Harpy's Feather Duster, which is very unfortunate. And usually in a case like this is when I go into Lovely to pop my own monsters and hopefully hit a very important card in their hand. And I'm also going to be chaining Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch, which is another reason why I really love this card, because going into Backjack, we'll still get one more trap card in rotation. Alright, so we're going to have this all resolve. I probably could have just not pop anything and wait for Backjack to get me another trap to actually get off Ariana's effect as well, but I didn't do that because I felt like that's a little too greedy, and at this point I feel like I was going to lose, so I had to kind of do like a more of a safer play if I still wanted to win. And I hit probably the worst card, Summoner's Limit, but then at this point I realized that it did not matter because this is an Outlich deck. So here I'm thinking I'm definitely going to lose because it's going to be an advantage deck versus another card advantage deck. And we're already down. And yeah, he had the summon limit, hit a card that literally did not matter. That card does not affect our deck in the least bit. Alright, so now he's gonna activate Outlet, special summon it for 3,500. Got my one card from Maxi. Not like it mattered. And from here, it's this is downhill, but I usually don't give up like that. I wait. He right. I didn't go for the backjack because I remember my 3 cards were not any traps, so got to summon Ariana. Got the field spell because I knew with the pairing of Trap Trick, I was going to be able with the normal trap be able to special summon Lovely with the field spell. He summons another Outlet, which is completely fine. Right, and I do this. Go for Dino Mist because that's the weakness of the Outlet deck, that they need their Outletches in the grave, not banished, because there's no way for them to recur that. Got my engine going, gaining my advantage. And then I pop another summon limit, a card that literally did not do anything. Alright, so he's gonna go battle, destroy my Ariana. He's gonna try to set up more. So here I'm thinking he's probably gonna pop the field spell. And now he's trying to get more advantage with the Yugioh. Now it's really interesting on his end because if he pops the Labrynth, which in my personal opinion is probably the card to pop, but he probably also wants to pop the lovely Labrynth because I have the Dino Mist engrave and he does not want to get his Outlet banished. So we're going to see in a moment what he does. Right, I go for the Dino Mist. Then I go to battle. Right, because I'm waiting for him to activate the Conquistador first. That way I can chain and get my effect off of Labrynth with Welcome Labrynth. So he does that first. Get to go Maxi. And this is the part where I get to take full advantage. Chaining Welcome Labrynth to still get the popping effect of Labrynth. And just from here, I think he could see how we're going to be gaining so much advantage. Get the stove onto the field. Get to draw a card. Perfect. The Chandelier is perfect fodder for Dino Mist. I don't remember why I did that. That was probably the wrong move to do. Doesn't matter that much. We're going to start popping. Right, because we could still recur it. So it did not end up mattering. So he's going to have to waste a Spell and Trap to get the Dino Mist. Right, so he does that. Right, goes into battle phase, Dino Mist. Because this is immune to destruction, he sees the writing on the wall with that. Right, so hopefully these 2 duels were enough to showcase why I'm like climbing with this deck. As you can see here, this is all Labrynth. A couple of losses definitely along the road, but winning a lot lately, so that's the deck list. Hope to see you on the next one.